Hello everybody to lesson 33 of JavaScript for Active Design course. In this lesson we will know 7 mistakes that many people made it, whether they don't know or sometimes it's confusing. So first of all, don't mess between the assignment operator and between the comparison operator. Okay, so how they are. So the comparison and the assignment is like that. When you say, for example, var, okay, and then you say x equal 10, this single equation means the assignment equation. The second one, which is if x equal 10, this equation we call it the comparison. Okay, so this is the comparison equation. So comparison equation returns whether true or false, but this it returns only assigning. Okay, so it returns every time true. So if I, for example, put over here, for example, I will see here var doc text, for example, equal document dot get element by id, let's write the id, which is text holder id, and then dot enter. Okay, enough. Then here I say doc text dot inner html equal x equal 10. Great, save it and then refresh. Okay, so x is equal 10. Great, so x equal 10. Great. Okay, but here, for example, if I said let's say not x equal 10, let's assign it to 20. Okay, so now if I said x equal 10, he will say no, x is not equal 2, so he didn't print anything. But in our case here, if I said x only 1 equal 10, he will print true. Okay, so how he print true or not? He print true because he went to this code, to the inside of the block, and he will not go to the block unless the x equal the condition is true. So here he assigned 10 to x and the operation is done correctly, so he returns true. And if he returns true from here, he will execute this operation. But if we say x equal 10, he will say no, means he will print nothing, because x equal 20, not 10. Okay, so you should focus when you write double equation or single equation means assigning. Okay, so we use it with variables or outside. The double equation, we use it with comparing the value of x with the value on the other side. Great, which is this is the first tab. Don't confuse between assigning and comparison equation. The second, which is don't confuse between the addition and the concatenation. Okay, sometimes you are confused between the addition and the concatenation. For example, here I'll say x equal 20 and y equal 20. Great. Okay, so now if I said, for example, here, if I said here, okay, if I said doc text dot inner html equal, then I said x plus y. Okay, so what do you think? What would be print? 20 means what? Means this concatenation. So the concatenation happens between the strings, but the addition happens between the numbers. So the element here is a string, so we have concatenated a string with a number. So the x is number and y is string. So when we have a string with a string, it's concatenation. When we have a string, like our case, string with number, it's concatenation too. But if we have number with number, it will be addition. For example, here if I removed this quotation double quotation here, and I said x equal 20 and y equal 20, the result will be 40. Okay, so this addition happened. Okay, the next is confusing between the two equation. So I think the concatenation and addition is great and easy. Now we have the third tab, which is confusing between two equation or three equation. Okay, what is the difference? The two equation means that he will compare, the browser or the compiler will compare only between the value of x and the value of the next element. Okay, so it will compare, the double equation is comparing about the value we have it. But if we have, for example, three equations, the three equations is comparing about the value and the type, and which is recommended, as we have talked about some best practice tips in the previous lessons. So the best practice tips that you use three equations, so that you will compare between the value and the type. For example, here in our case, x equal 20. Okay, imagine this x equal 20 inside the double quotation, and here we said x equal 20. What do you think what will happen? There is nothing will be print. Why? Because x, which is string 20, is not like the number 20. This is number and this is a string. But if it is only two equation, it will be equal. Okay, and it will print the result. So x equal 20 means two double equation, it means comparing the value. But with 3 it means comparing the value also with the type. Okay, breaking the JavaScript string. Sometimes if you have a long string, okay, and you need to break that string. For example, in our case here, I will say, for example, here I will say, or I will duplicate this. I will say, let's see something here. I will say this value is the result of the test of the equation. Okay, or of the following, and this. Great. Imagine I need to make here I need to make here, for example, a break line. Okay, if I made like that, they would look, the editor happened automatically. If I made like that, it will be error. It's not recommended to break the text from the middle without any concatenating things. Okay, so it will show some errors there. But what's the solution? There's two solutions. The first is adding plus and everything will be great. The second is to add the / like that, and everything is like that. I think no. The / and everything will be great. So whether to add plus, if you have, for example, a long string, for example, and you need to break in a same place, and a specific place to make your text or your code more readable. What you should do, break it wherever you want to break it, and add the plus sign or the / sign. So if we save and refresh, none. What is none? Yes, what is that? Save it and refresh. Okay, it works, but oh, I'm sorry, we divide the string by string. It's not working. So only add the the plus sign and refresh the page. Everything is work perfectly. The second point is adding the the backslash in the place of what? In the place of the text. For example, if we, for example, break the element over there and we didn't add the double quotation or any single quotation, we could add the backslash and everything will work perfectly. Okay, so whether to add backslash without double quotation, or to add double quotation here and double quotation over there, and to add, instead of backslash Adblasts. Okay, so the text was like that. This was the text. If you need to break it, put put the backslash and go ahead. Sorry, delete this one and the other one, and everything will be perfect. But it's recommended to add the plus sign like this. You add double quotation over here and double quotation over there, and between them you have double quotation. It's like the concatenation between two string over there and string over here. So these two strings, but we have between them concatenation. Okay, so this is number, I think, 4 or 5. The next is misplacing the semicolons, meaning putting the semicolons in place that you are not sure about. For example, imagine here I have created fx equal 20. So x, let's see here, fx equal 20. So x is equal to 20, true. You will print that thing. Refresh, you print it. But imagine here that I have, for example, x is equal 20 and I have made semicolon. See that? Refresh, nothing will change. But if x is equal, for example, 40, x is not equal to 40. So he shouldn't do this, action, but he will do it. How is that happening? I will tell you. So now, if he went to x equal 20, he take x is 20 now, and we have 40. Is 20 equal to 40? No. So he will go to the first statement, and we have his semicolon, means we have end this if condition. So now we have start new block. Okay, so the block over here is new and separated from this block. So he will execute this block every time, even if this condition is true or false. He will execute this block every time. Great. So you should focus that we have no semicolon after the if condition, and you should put the semicolon in places that are important. For example, if you have a function, you have defined here, for example, function, and name it func1, and you put in here semicolon. Okay, so this is not true. It's not true. So the semicolon is put in, and at the end of the statements, not complex statements. For example, the variables, the DOM callings, or something like that, but not in the function or in the the if conditions or the switch, for example. Great. The second is confusing. Some people confuse between the index and the length of the array. For example, imagine I have here, okay, I have here variable, let's see, array, what, or my array, I will see my array, okay, equal, let's see, 1 to, let's see, 11, okay, semicolon. So now, if we said, we know that the array in JavaScript and in many languages, it's 0 indexed, means it starts with 0 index. So here is 0 index, 1 index, 2, the index is 2, the index here is 3, the index here is 4. So the index is 4, ended with 4, starts with 0 and end with 4. But the elements start, the elements are 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how many elements we have? We have 5 elements. Okay, so like here, 5 items, but 4 index. How is that? Because we start from 0 index. So the index is 4. We have start 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 index, but the items are 5. So sometimes when we told someone to access the variable of, for example, I will say doc text dot inner HTML equal, and let's say print the element of indexed, this is the second element. He will start from 0, 2. So he will say my array, and here what do you want? I need the second element. What we should write? We should write 1. How is it? 0 1. We start from 0. So if you want the second element, means you will start from 0 then 1. So 1 means the second element. When we print it, we will say that the second element is 22, which is like here, first, the second. So the second means we start from 0, then 1 0 1, then the second element is 1, which would be print the 22. Okay, if we print here the length of this array, the length will be 5 because we have 5 elements, but the last element is 4, indexed 4. Great. So don't mix between the index, which is starts from 0, and the length, which starts from 1 1 2 3 4 5, but the index is 0 1 2 3 4. Great. The last tab, which is number 7, is undefined is not like null. Sometimes if we have, for example, here I have, for example, identified y. Let's delete the array. Okay, so for example, I have y and I need to print the y. It's empty now. Okay, so what it will print? It will print undefined. So undefined is not like the null. Imagine I have, for example, here an object. Var object means object equal to, okay, I will say first name, and this equal, for example, null. Okay, so now if I access object, if I print, for example, object dot first name, what will be print? It will be print nothing, means it's null. So when we compare it, when we say, for example, here, if object dot first name equal null, here we'll say doctext dot inner equal null. Okay, so he will print here, so he'll print over here null. Great. So refresh, it's null. So it tests here, is the object equal null? Yes. But if we say equal undefined, what do you think? What he will print? The same. So undefined is different from null in situation of what? Undefined is joined with variables, normal variables. Okay, but for example, if we print as we have print over there, if we have print x here, y, which is empty here, it's undefined, it's not null. So it's undefined. It's undefined. Okay, it's not null, but the object, it's null. So the null is with the object. The for example, if we have printed here object, what will be printed? Object, the name of the object. So you should know it like this. The undefined is with the normal variables, like this variable y and I don't know what, and the null is with the object. Great. So this was the lesson of this session. This was the mistakes. Let's review them as quick. The first one, don't confuse between the assignment and the comparing equations. The second, you should know that there is the three equations is different from the double equations. The three equations means that it will compare the type and the value, but the double equation means it will compare only the value. The second is confusing between addition and concatenation. The addition is between two strings, two numbers, but the concatenating is happening between the number and string or between two strings. The breaking JavaScript, to break any JavaScript strings, you only have to add double quotation, for example, and then plus, and go wherever you want, or you could only add the go ahead like this and put only one forward slash, backslash, and everything will be in order. The second is misleading semicolons. Sometimes you put the semicolons in place. That is not recommended to put it over there, like the if condition. If you put it at the end, it will not execute the code behind it. The second is the index, of the array. It's the index of the array starts from 0, the position starts from 0, 1, 2, and the the value starts from 1, 2. The last, which is undefined, is for normal values, and null is for objects and for complex values or variables. So this was the lesson for the session. Thanks for listening and watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.